The next topic is this Imam a little too cool? All right, let me review with you what happened and took place in that little activity that we started off with. I said, this Imam shows up at the masjid. The reason that I brought up the masjid was so that you could start to get a feeling between the connection between money and religion. And basically, like your emotional attachment, is money good? Is money bad? Does money take you to paradise? Does money take you to hellfire? All of those emotions that come up. So some of you have mentioned that some of the fears that have already struck up from there are things like, and this might hit a chord with some of you as well. Things like the fear of asking people for money, asking Muslims for money, right? And that might hit a chord. Do you feel comfortable going up to someone and say, hey, I'd like to sell you something. It costs $800 a month. Do you feel comfortable saying that to somebody? How many people have no problem telling people how much they're worth, right? Anybody have a problem saying how much they're worth? Yes. Okay, a good number. So that's an issue that you need to take note of, and make note that this is one issue that you're going to be dealing with, is having the confidence. And believe me, when you come with a lack of confidence and you tell a person, it's $800 a month, and you're shaking, the person's like, you're not even confident about what you're selling. And then that they start losing confidence in you. Another issue that might come up and is started, kicked off, is like the fear factors, right? So the fear of, starting something new. A lot of people were mentioning they're in a corporate job and a corporate atmosphere, and you're like, oh, I hate my boss and this and that, and you're just drenching in fear. The fear of, because your boss faced the fear and he started the company. But now you're dealing with the fear of the unknown in that, inshallah. The insecurity. Yeah, so an insecurity, you can call it insecurity. I call it fear, you can call it insecurity. It's the insecurity of, will you be successful or not? And if you're not successful, then you're going to starve and die and stuff like that. It's been my experience that Muslims have a lot of emotional attachment. Even this group that's here taking this seminar, you're actually a little different than most of the community in that, okay, you've paid this money to come attend and you're spending your weekend. You're pretty committed, right? So I'm dealing with a different group of people here. But if you go back into the general, like stream of Muslims that you're dealing with, right? You've got 1,001 insecurities, 1,001 fears that you're dealing with. And people basically, in all their fears, the only path that they take is they feel that it's necessary to be poor. They feel that it's necessary to be in debt, or all of these things come up, and it doesn't have to be that way, inshallah ta'ala. You can take care of it for yourself and resolve the money issue for yourself, bi'idhnillah, and then you can go on and help people afterwards. When I did a survey of, from our mailing list, I asked people what they would be interested in learning about. The number one thing that came up of the different issues, how to make big purchases, how to change careers and things like that. The number one issue that people said that they were most interested in, but it was very close, by the way, was how to reconcile wanting more money with being religious. Is it even permissible to want more money and yet claim that you are a believer in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? When we brought up that issue of the Imam with, the hot car, I like to call it a Ferrari. Ferrari's not the hottest car to me, but I'm just giving an example. As I said, that you were defining yourself, and you were saying in your heart, what did you feel? And you maybe you took notes before, but you want to write down what sort of things came up when you saw that Imam. He's coming late for prayer. The assumptions that you made about him. Is it permissible to have a hot car like that? Is it permissible? Who would like to say, is it permissible to have a hot car? Is it, or who would like to say, yes, it is permissible to have a hot car? Who would say, no, it's not permissible to have a car? We're being honest here, and we're dealing with our real emotions. It's not permissible to have it. You want to say it. It's okay. Okay, so, yeah. We have one honest person here. And by the way, I'm not telling you that the end goal of all of this is that you start driving and showing off your money and stuff like that. That's not the end goal. What I'm trying to make you face is your emotional attachment. So the imam having a hot car, yes or no, that's between him and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Whether he's sincere, whether he's not sincere. But if there's going to be something haram, it will be related to actual haram things. Right? So that would be, maybe he bought it with haram money. That's the haram part of it. Right? But if someone has halal money that they've paid zakat on, what they choose to do with it, whether they spend it for, in the sake of Allah and get extra ajr like that, or whether they spend it on their family members, or they spend it, out of all the luxuries of the dunya, he loves nice cars. And everything else, alhamdulillah, he spends his money for, alhamdulillah, he got the car. Right? When I was once at a fundraiser, this is back in the day, long time ago. And at this point, it was the highest level of money in my bank account. And I had $5,000 in my bank account. It's the highest level. You know what I'm talking about. Some people know what I'm talking about, right? You have $5,000 in your bank account. Like you're rolling, right? You're a baller. And I went to this fundraiser and I was freaked out. Like, how in the world is it possible that I have $5,000 in my bank account? And this is my feeling, that Allah is going to send a thunderbolt and destroy me at any moment now. Can someone relate to that? Yes? Okay, that's interesting that you relate. Like, you have $5,000 that, the world needs money and this and that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to destroy me. So I went to this fundraiser and I was like, take it. Take it. Because if it stays with me, I'll be destroyed. And I'll bring that up, inshallah ta'ala. If you wrote your hand up on that, make note of that. Because you've got an iman issue. I'll take questions after the section, then I'll ask everybody, what have you learned? And I'll take questions, inshallah ta'ala. It won't be too long. I'm moving through the sections quickly. Now, this imam, we mentioned earlier on how we can resolve it. Why did he come late for the salah? And I gave examples like maybe he was, attending to someone at the hospital. Maybe he was traveling and he just arrived from the airport and he's praying. There could be multiple reasons. And once you understand that, your emotions get, lowered down. Why does he have a hot car like this? Where did he get like an expensive car like that? Did anybody have feelings that he got it from the Muslim treasury? Anybody have feelings like that? No, we're being honest. He has a hot car. He's driving to the masjid. He's the imam. How did he pay for that? And the only job he has is being an imam. Where did he get the money to pay for it? You started feeling that, right? Like, obviously, we're hardworking Muslim community members, and he's going around spending our zakat money on cars like this. Correct? And that's usually what happens, even for the imams that are here, that that anytime you spend on something, everybody's looking at you like, oh, so this is where our money's going to. Right? Is that true? Yeah? So here are some examples of how the imam could have made money. He has assets. Okay? So he has multiple rental properties in the city, and he makes money from that, and actually he might be donating his imam time. Or the money he's even making from the imam job, if it was about the money, he would just never be an imam. But a lot of people don't understand how that works. A person can be so wealthy and have no work to do because they're not working time for money, but they're actually just being smarter in investing their money and doing businesses that don't require them to physically be at a job, 9 to 5. And then the 9 to 5 job afterwards can just be something that they do for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or not. This imam, what if he was highly effective? When people offer me an imam job, you know what I say to them? I say, I don't know if you can afford me. They're like, well, how much do you cost? And I wouldn't take that job, but believe me, if I did, they would pay for it. Right? Because if I go into a position that, inshallah ta'ala, I'm going to be highly effective. Inshallah ta'ala. And so a highly effective imam deserves that money. How much is this person benefiting the community? Right? And so they should be paid if they're highly effective. Like someone who is for example, when they make fun of the GM, CEO, these car companies, they're arriving in like fancy cars and stuff like that, and everybody gets all mad. I'm like, they've provided jobs for 500,000 people. They can't buy a nice car. Correct? I'm like, who's getting mad at them? Yes? It's very easy. And even I would say something that we learn from that is that they're just picturing it from their perspective, right? Meaning like just your environment, like, oh, an imam should have this, an imam should have that. It's like you just, that's your own limitations inside your own mind, and it's not the reality. An imam can easily have a car like that, and so does everybody else, for example, in Dubai. But yeah. All right. Taking from what you've learned from, is this imam a little too cool? Actually, any other questions? Sister, you had a question? Here's where the problem will come up. Just like the sister said, is that a lot of parents want their children to be doctors, for example. The doctor has three qualities. Number one, they make lots of money, right? Number two is they get community prestige, right? Honor and nobility connected to that. Maybe just like those two main qualities, right? Not three, but two. So the community prestige, the same parents that might be religious, if their child said, I would like to study Islam, they would say, even though they're religious and they go to the masjid and they donate, but they donate as doctors or they donate as some other background, they'll say, what are you going to be, a beggar? And the community looks down on people who are religious and have money. And so a lot of your businesses are not necessarily going to be like a petroleum business or something like that. Your businesses might be dealing with benefiting the community. And it will have a tinge of da'wah attached to it. If you really want to benefit people and not just make like telephones for them, for example, you actually want to bring some service or some product that really benefits to them, then people will start saying, it's kind of like da'wah, and now you're charging money for your da'wah. And then your feelings of religion, this issue, like you said, and you're honest, which is another thing, alhamdulillah, when I brought up like who really has issues with the imam and you raised your hand, Jazakallah khairan, you will find out where you are by being honest, not by whatever everybody else is raising their hand on and just copying everybody else. You just want to, if everybody's saying one thing and you disagree, just raise your hand. I disagree with everybody else. This is what I'm saying. When I teach when I used to teach little kids, every time I'd ask a question, I'd make everybody close their eyes before raising their hands. And I would do that so that nobody would copy anybody else. If they wanted to make a statement, they say it unbiased by anything anybody's raising their hands, inshallah ta'ala. Yes? And I think the key word you're saying there is like sincerity versus insincerity. The fact that he has a nice car means he's insincere. Okay, perfect. That was a human being's decision that made a judgment on this person, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to judge the intentions, not. And as well, that's what I'm saying. We want to get it out here. Like just start pull out that, get that junk out of our systems so you can put it down on paper. And later at the end of the seminar, if you want to like ingest that you can do what you want. At least get it out, put it on paper, see it for what it's there, and let's deal with it afterwards, inshallah. Yes? In fact, again, actually on the excitement of money issue, the money issue might not be the thing that's exciting you. It will come up, inshallah ta'ala. There's some sections on that. A section called Will Work for Fun. They're broke and they're enslaved to the whole system, but they'll say, but I just don't care, right? It's a nice excuse. I tell people that there are 5 basic, and I actually did one, the money issue. This is an excuse because nobody said you have to care about money, but what we're talking about is your independence so you can choose your life. Classic excuses, there are 5 classic excuses. One of them is, I have no time. Number 2 is, I'm too old. Or a person saying, I'm too young. So someone might be in high school, like learning this and saying, oh, you're only allowed to make money after you graduate from university, right? And someone else saying, you know what, it's too late for me. I'm already in my career. What can you do? Stuff like that, right? Okay, so I'm too old, I'm too young. Number 3 is, I'm not good enough for this. Meaning like I don't know enough. I don't have a PhD. Everybody else has PhDs. I don't have a master's. I don't have a bachelor's. I don't have this. I don't have certification. I don't have a diploma. I don't have this. Who am I? Which is excuse number 3. Notice that they're excuses. An excuse meaning that it's not the reality. It's just something people using as an excuse to actually do what they need to do. Number 4 is, but I'm not really that concerned. Who cares about money? Why all this focus on money? And that's the person that is enslaved to the system. Because if you don't care about something, do you think it goes away? It just comes back and bites you. Which is excuse number 4. It sounds nice. Like, don't care about this, care about the real things in life. But that person doesn't even have time to care about the real things in life because they haven't mastered this issue. Master it so that you can actually care about all the things that you care about. Number 5 is you people are so arrogant. Classic excuse number 5 is to offensively attack the person. This is all about materialism, which is excuse number 5. And you learn that, inshallah ta'ala, also in the life coaching topics that we're going to be talking about. But those are your 5 excuses. These are classics. So the excuse number 4 is an issue that you need to deal with. And so take note of it. If you feel like I don't care about money, write it down. It's an excuse. There's something underneath going on.